Welcome to another Rise and Thrive. This is our Financial Friday.
Yes.
Fridays where we're talking about rising from a financial slump to thriving in financial freedom. And so I'm your host, Dr. A.D. Burns, and my co-host is stuck in the airport, Brother James Jones. And so we have our standby producer who's jumped in for us tonight, none other than the many talented one and only Minister Sharon D. Brunfield. How you doing, Minister Brunfield?
I'm awesome. Thanks for having me on, Pastor.
Yeah, they blowing me up on the text, asking me am I on yet. A little challenge getting on. And so I'm excited about the Financial Friday. I'm trying to get on one of these platforms just to see who's out there. We're on several different platforms now, and so it's kind of kind of challenging. I'm gonna have to give me some multiple screens.
Yes.
Yeah, I used to see Apostle Hilliard when he came on, he would do that, and he would have the multiple screens. And so I guess I'm getting big time, huh?
Yes.
Getting up
Yes.
there with the big boys, huh? So, Mr. Brumfield, how's your week?
Oh, my week has been pretty good. It's been pretty busy, but it's been pretty good. Been pretty good.
Right. Well, that's we'll get you to change that word.
Oh,
Busy.
busy. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't just doing busyness.
Yeah. So you were productive.
Productive. It's been a productive week. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is around the Kingdom Growth time for me. Okay, there it is. I finally found it. Got it on. This is around the Kingdom Growth time for me, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's been very, very productive, but it's nonstop along with all my other duties. And this year I have triple and quadruple duties going on, and so I'm excited about that. Well, listen, Financial Fridays was designed as a part of a 90-day challenge, and then it was so productive from the fact that people were being helped by it and being educated financially that we kept going. And I don't even know how long we've been going along. I have to find out one day so we could know, you know, how long it's been going on. But it's been very, very beneficial. And even myself, I say personally, I've learned so much on our Financial Fridays. I have adjusted the way I spend my money. I even delayed some different things I wanted to do. I'm still struggling when it comes to vehicle because I like cars, and my birthday is coming up, and you know it's almost like a tradition on my milestone birthdays. I gotta have a vehicle, and so but Financial Fridays has reshaped my thinking, and it has caused me now to be more purposeful when it comes to my spending. And so, what would you say as far as how Financial Fridays have or have not impacted your life?
Well, taking the nuggets, so especially with the savings and not spending and putting it in a different place, I've really been working on that. So if I usually go and get whatever, I'm in the store and I'm going to get some banana pudding. Well, I don't do that anymore. But so now I'm making sure that I take that money, not let it just sit in the account, but put it into those few stocks that I bought. So, I'm nickel and diming those stocks. And so I started off with a certain amount. And so every week or so, I'm putting some more money on those so that I can get them,
Okay,
into a higher place.
all right. Now, I used to, this is a sidebar. I used to think that they were forgetting to put the O, and when they say good evening, Lady B said good evening, great people, but she said God evening, great
Yeah.
people. And I'm starting to see that. So I said they're doing that on purpose, right? Well, listen, going back to what you were saying, one thing now I want you to I want you to know is that Warren Buffett, you know Warren Buffett?
Hmm.
Warren Buffett is, I'm sure, a billionaire. Warren Buffett made most of his money, I believe, in the beginning on penny stocks.
Wow.
And so when I was hearing you talking about your few stocks, don't don't downplay that because you know you know he made millions on penny stocks, and that's one of the things that we have really tried to press hard on Financial Fridays is small adjustments. But even when we talk about small adjustments don't mean small return. You know,
Hmm.
small adjustments is really what makes maximum returns.
Hmm.
And so that's one of the challenges that I have, and I'm excited and encouraged that you have stepped off into that arena, and that is the money that I save. Make sure that I put that to the side,
Hmm.
and I know that's important because you know if you don't do that, it'll get let's face it, money is going to come and money is going to go.
Right.
And so whether you spend that money on all your bills or you spend that money on some of your bills and you save some, either way, money comes and goes.
It does.
And so a lot of times what people will do is they'll be so focused on bills that they feel like they can't put money aside, but they don't realize that money goes anyway.
Anyway.
And so even after you pay all your bills, there's still some more. They're gonna come back again next month, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
And so one of the challenges that I have is actually doing what you're saying you're doing,
Hmm.
and that is, being conscious of the money that I'm saving, and then taking that money that I saved and give it an assignment,
Right.
and put it purposely over somewhere that it can begin to work for me or do something or get set up for something. So how does that make you feel when you're able to do that? And now when you first started out before Financial Friday, um, were you doing that?
No.
Okay. And so when we first started talking about it on Financial Fridays, were you able to do that right away?
I didn't do it right away.
Okay. And,
I
and so and so I was hoping you would say that, because people need to understand that it is a process,
Mhm.
for whatever reason. But
Mhm.
then now that you are doing that, how does it make you feel?
I'm excited about it because I see it growing.
Okay.
So, like I said, I started off, I bought two stocks, and I think I started them with $10 each.
Okay.
So I just said, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take this $20 and I'm gonna buy two. And then the next week, I think I put $2 on it. Then I put another $2 on it. So eventually I'll get it to the place where it actually the stock costs, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I'll get it there eventually, little by little, instead of me saying, oh, I can't do it because I don't have the full $125 to buy one stock.
Hmm.
But eventually I'm gonna get there
Okay.
because as I have increased, I can add a little bit more on there. And it's not money that's taking away from where it was supposed to go. I would have bought that anyway. I would have bought the banana pudding, or I would have bought the candy, or I would have bought it anyway. So I might as well put it somewhere where it's really beneficial for me.
And that's the thing that we got to get in our minds, because that money is going to go somewhere. And a lot of times I think it's because, we talked about this several times throughout Financial Friday. One of the biggest goals is changing our mindset about things, how we perceive things. Because a lot of times I think people perceive, it's just $20. I can't do nothing with it. So,
Mhm.
and then they'll just let it go.
Right.
But if you take that and you times that times, how many times do you go to the store in a month? You know, you take whatever that number is. six times, and you times it times 20, there's a stock right there.
Right there.
You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
then and you continue to do that over the course of months. I mean, you'll be amazed. One of the things that James often says, when you start saving and putting money aside, that money will grow real fast. And so when you begin to really see that thing moving, the other temptation is to leave it alone.
Mm. Yeah.
Sometimes when you say $20, oh, I can leave that parked over there. But when
Mhm.
it be $2,000 over there, you know what I mean? Then you'd be
I
like,
could just get this. I
yeah,
could just get this.
yeah, yeah. But that's good though, because it's really about financial literacy. It's really about training ourselves so that we can begin to really understand that we can be empowered. Lady B said, "That's good, Minister Brumfield. I think I may do that. I thought you had to have the stock cost to open particular stocks." And so, see there,
Mhm.
that's what we're saying. That a lot of times, in our mindset, that's what we thinking that we have to have it all. I don't remember the scripture that we had, but in one of the Financial Fridays, we put the scripture up that said that if you wait for everything to be perfect,
Mhm.
you never do it. And so one of the things really is just to begin where you are,
Yeah.
and really just discipline yourself to begin to press towards that particular goal.
Right.
Now, I think many times when it comes to certain cultures, or certain people, you know, we don't necessarily have that background when it comes to the training.
Right.
You know, I really admire James for how he trains his girls. How
Mhm.
he's training them how to be able to analyze things, and how to understand cost, and how to be able to navigate. Many of us, when we grew up, we didn't have that,
Right.
and we're in a place now where I think that it's very important that financial training and literacy become a rite of passage for our children and our grandchildren.
Exactly.
I was sharing with my boys that they should start with their children. If their kids want a bike or something, give them a job. Say, okay, you make up your bed every day, and I'm gonna give you $1, and it's gonna take you 30 days,
Mhm.
to save up enough, and then you buy the bike.
Mhm.
Or giving them some type of exercising, helping them to understand how to begin to, calculate, if I want this, I need to do this, or I need to get a job, or go ask your granddad, can you wash his car, or or something, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
that financial literacy, I think that's one of the things, especially when we think about how much the dollar. I'm trying not to just pick out a culture, but it's hard not to. With the African American community, they say that the dollar only circulates once. So
Mhm.
that means that I'll get the dollar, I'll get my money, and then I'll take it outside of my community and spend it.
Okay.
Where in other communities, their dollars circulate multiple times before it leaves their community. You know, and I
Mhm.
know sometimes it's challenging to do when if you don't have good customer service, and your product is, but most of the time it's really just a lack of education.
Mhm.
That there are many products that we can invest in our own community, and there's a lot of different things we can forego when it comes to building wealth. And so I think that's very powerful. You did a survey for us once, and I think it was a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
and it was a Financial Friday survey, and many people didn't fill out that survey. But I want you to put that survey up again for me.
Okay.
And if you did not fill out that survey, maybe you forgot, or or you weren't on that particular Friday, we've covered a whole lot of different areas, and we want to be able to continue to help build the financial literacy of people, and we want to be able to see, you know, your money actually grow for you. And so, in order for us to know what to really do, we need to hear back from you. That's almost sound like I was rhyming, huh?
He
What to
did.
do, we need to hear from you. So I wanted to walk down through that survey with you, and just kind of chop it up a little bit, because those areas that we're talking about on there is what empowers you to be able to get ahead financially.
Right.
Apostle Hilliard says things don't just happen, they must be planned. And so these areas are so important that we're able to begin to master these areas or be responsible in these areas. And I just wanted to kind of go over them a little bit. So, a lot of it, through our Financial Fridays, we've given out the information, but we want to know, because if we need to spend more time in a certain area. We want to be able to do that.
Right.
Does that sound like I'm on the right track?
Yes, sir.
All right, all right, all right. So I'm gonna use you as my sounding board, as the bishop would call it. And so the first area in the survey was dealing with managing bills and debt.
Mhm.
And you hear it, even if you don't experience it. You hear where the Americans are in more debt now than ever before in history. And when you think about being in debt, a lot of them get overwhelmed, and if they're not careful, they'll begin to, allow their debt and stuff to affect their credit rating.
Mhm.
Not being able to pay. And so, when it comes to debt, one of the biggest things is being able to plan your spending. And so, when you talked about looking at what you were spending going in the store, and then you talked about taking what you saved and putting it over there. It
Mhm.
sounds like you're planning your spending, that you are not just spending it just to be spending it, and even when you go and buy your banana pudding, you know, yeah, you could do without it, but it wasn't like you went and bought a bag of potato chips, or maybe, I don't know. And you know what I mean? As far as, there are sometimes we can spend money, like go to the service station to get some gas, and then go in and spend $20 on chips and cakes and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I'm saying, when you start thinking that way, and you start practicing taking that money and putting it over there, do you find yourself looking at other things that you may have debt wise or bills, and being more conscious of setting money aside, or looking and managing your money based on what's coming up, as far as your bills and debt? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So, looking at an overall budget, when I do it, I'm basing it. I am married, so it's two of us on this budget. However, for me, what I bring in from my business is what I'm budgeting. That's what I'm talking about. So that's the money I'm taking it, and I'm making sure that I put that in the stock. I'm making sure that I'm paying all the things that I need to pay. And so yes, I am looking forward, and I'm um, doing projections. Like, okay, I'm going to have to do something else because I need to increase this income if this is going to grow. So I'm constantly doing projections throughout the month. Okay, I need to sell this many things. I need to have this many clients. I need to do this so that I can keep up with this budget that I've created. Did
Okay.
that answer? Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. And we had another scripture we looked at that said that we're supposed to always be aware of the stake of our herd, or our business.
Mhm.
And so, and that's really how you do it. I've done that for years. I've learned how to do it through church when it comes to, you know, uh, being able to calculate what I need for whatever I need, whether it's, a projector or a sound system or whatever the case may be,
Mhm.
is being able to look and say and see, okay, this is what I need. And then you have to look at whatever brings in your income and say, how many of these do you need in order to be able to make, enough to do that? And
Right.
so and so that's how you do it. And
Mhm.
it doesn't stop. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you get to a place and then it doesn't stop. That's a continual, that's part of management. And I think a lot of times people don't know the state of their affairs. And so as a result of it, even though that bill come up every month, is a lot of times that bill will come up and take them off guard. And so being able to really understand how important it is that you do projections, that you are looking at, that you're not just hoping that it's going to work out, but you're putting forth the effort. Lady B said, mentally, I've been working on budgeting when going to the store. I try not to spend as much as in the past. For example, when I used to buy 5 or 6, what is that? Yogurts.
Uh-huh.
Now I buy 3 or 4. All right, okay,
Okay.
all right. Well, and we talked about that in one of the Financial Fridays, as a way of saving money is buying in bulk. And so I don't know if there's a place where you can go and buy you a case of yogurt. I don't know, but yeah, being able to really understand where my money is coming from, but
Mhm.
even more importantly, where my money is going.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So
Mhm.
now I know your business is counseling, right?
Right.
All right. So tell us a little bit about your business. What
Um,
what's your tagline?
oh, okay.
Your
So
elevator speech.
we transform beliefs, behaviors, and the way we see barriers
Okay.
through conversation, through questions, through self-discovery.
hmm All right. And so now in dealing with your clientele and helping them to see barriers and uh, through those conversations, do you hear finances come up as challenges for people?
Exactly. Yes, because usually it's how they grew up, is what they saw their parents do. And so breaking that cycle, like, no, you don't have to do it that way. Let's think through that. How else can you do that? How, thinking of lack as if that's the norm. No, lack is not the norm. It's the opposite of of what we should have. You
Yeah.
but helping them to understand that sometimes it's a little difficult because that's all they saw
mhm,
was, well, that's all I know is lack. I don't even have the capacity to believe that I can live differently than I am right now.
Yeah. 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 And that's exactly where we're going, or what we're talking about when it comes to um, um, financial literacy as a rite of passage,
Mm.
as a thing that, we talk about leaving our children a legacy. We talk about leaving our children an inheritance. You know, with that being said, one of the things that's probably more important is that living legacy when it comes to actually really training them or helping them to really see beyond what they have experienced.
Right.
And a lot of times, if you don't have that type of exposure, that's why going to a Bible teaching church is important. That's why it's important to really have a broader understanding about money, because a lot of people are turned off with the church and money. And there are some churches, I'm sure, just like in everything else, that is abusing, you know, uh, that opportunity. Uh,
Right.
However, you can't erase that out of the Bible.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And so God still has a purpose. And I believe, in this new series, we're going to get to the place where we're talking about what happens when we line up with God, what happens in that space, and how that space illuminates a lot of things for us. And it's in that space that we're really able to do the things that the Bible tells us to do. But a
Mhm.
lot of times we're trying to do what the Bible says that we can do, but we're trying to do it opposite of the Bible.
Right,
You
right.
know, like you have in the world, you have this thing going around now where people are saying, I love God, I want God, but I don't want church. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And that's like an oxymoron kind of thing because it was God that invented church. Church was God's idea. You know, it wasn't man's idea.
Right.
And in God's word, He says that we should not forsake going to church. And so you can't want God but then be disobedient or reject His word. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I just want to interject real quick and say you jumped right in with this new series, Pastor, the culture shift. I cannot wait for the next downloads and segments of this, because that one illustration that you did with the problems,
Hmm.
and you went and picked up that Bible and it bounced right off of those problems. Not that the word is not powerful, but that we put those problems in a place where they shouldn't be, in
Yeah.
God's place,
Hmm.
and they overtake everything else around us. I was like, that was so good.
Oh,
That was a great illustration. And no, he did not pay me to say that. It
okay.
was a great illustration.
uh, that is one of the things that we really don't realize a lot of times is we don't really see, just like the person you're meeting with, they don't see that they are capable of doing more than what their parents experienced or what they were brought up to do. And we have supporting scriptures for that as well. He talks about when the sower went out to sow, and he sowed on the thorny ground. And when the seed grew up, the cares and the problems that the person had, it choked out what God wanted to do in their life.
Yeah.
And the other scripture talks about how we should get entangled with the affairs of the world. And so there's different supporting scriptures for that. But most of the time we don't realize that we're living below our potential, because a lot of times we're comparing ourselves to either our families or how we grew up or the environment that we were in.
Yeah.
And so financial literacy, when it comes to wealth, when it comes to being able to have cash flow, is a mindset. Is really re-educating ourselves on what we have the ability to do. Because I remember when I got, you know, my parents did the best that they knew how to do, and so I don't, throw no rocks at them or anything like that.
Mhm.
I think about when I got my job out of high school. I got recruited from MATC. I went to MATC to learn how to build. Um, I learned how to build engines in high school. I went to Washington High School, and they had a mechanic shop. And because I was a car lover, I wanted to know how to fix cars, or how cars ran. So I learned how to build car engines and things in high school. And when I graduated, I went to MATC and to learn how even more to build engines and things of that sort. And then I got recruited from MATC to Milwaukee Road. And Milwaukee Road was the railroad here in Milwaukee at that time. And they recruited me to the Milwaukee Road to build train engines, you know. And so I got that job, and oh my goodness, I have never seen that much money before.
Okay.
I mean, I was making serious money. It was crazy money that I was making. And but I didn't have that understanding of money.
Right.
Later on, I felt bad because I could have helped my mother, I could have helped my grandfather, and still had plenty of money left over. But because I didn't have a financial education, a lot of that money, most of that money just blew through my hands. And
Okay.
I worked there probably 18, I think about 18 years I worked there. And, you know, I didn't, you know, I blew it, you know.
Mm.
And so I'm saying that even if you have access to the money, if you don't have the right mindset, if you don't have the right education when it comes to financial literacy, even though you have access to the money,
Right.
you'll still blow it.
Yeah. Yep. You got to change your mind. I was, talking to God one morning and I was like, okay, I'm ready now. Before I didn't have the information to multiply money,
Mhm.
but now I got it, so you can send it now, I won't mess it up.
Okay.
I won't give it away
Mhm.
frivolously, I got a new mindset about it, and that's through Financial Friday.
Okay. Yeah. And I think as we begin to understand that, is one of the things that can really measure where we are. And that's one of the things in our survey, and that is emergency funds.
Mhm.
When we talked about emergency funds on Financial Fridays, and I believe he told us 3 months.
I believe so.
You
James
know,
is on. So if that's right, James, let us know.
James is on.
Yes.
Where he
He
at?
he said he made a comment here, so he's
Which
here somewhere. Say
which
hey, James.
which platform is he on?
He's on YouTube.
Oh, he's on YouTube.
Hmm.
Um, is it any way to bring him in?
Let's see.
Pushing
I
it.
can send him. Let's see what he said. He said, "Yes, I'm here." So let's see. If I send you the link, just click the link, James. Click the link that I sent you so you can tune in. So you
Okay.
can come on.
Yeah, and so if it, let's say it's 3 months, and then I looked and I was embarrassed, because I didn't have 3 months,
Mhm.
saved away,
Right.
you know, and it was like wow, and so I knew then that I'm going to really have to adjust how I spend money because when I do my taxes at the end of the year, you know, I don't know where it all be coming from. You know what I mean? But it ain't no chump change, boy. Don't be no chump change. I'd be like, man, and that's always something that challenges me. And when I do my taxes, because that's the real proof right there that I actually had that much money to come through my hands. And then when I look at my account and see how much of that money I kept, I'm always disappointed. I have in the past, I've always been disappointed, because I felt like I could have saved much more than that, than what I had. And
Mhm.
and so being able to understand that we don't have to spend everything that we have and that we can purposely build wealth.
Yeah. And it's not like you're missing out on anything. I feel, that I'm cutting down on spending or buying clothes or whatever. I don't feel like I'm missing out because I'm putting it somewhere else or
Mhm.
I'm saving it up. Even when my husband retired, if we didn't have that extra, man, it would have been crazy. So having that extra when you don't know you're going to need it
Yeah.
is so important.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why we're trying to get people. We want to be able to get people. I want to be able to do. We're working on this book that's going to be coming out, and I want to be able to see people actually get to six figures. He said that Minister Mark said taxes say one thing, but my pocket said another. Yeah, and it's really the mindset that you just said that we have to have that as a full-time mindset when it comes to you really don't miss it, the things that you were buying,
Right.
and so in essence, you really don't need everything that we spend money on,
We don't.
you know. And so going back to what you said earlier, being more conscious now, for you it might be bread pudding, or no, what you call it, banana pudding.
Banana pudding. Hmm.
But for somebody else, it could be something else, you
Right.
know. Like for me, I had went back to buying popcorn and stuff. And then since Financial Fridays, I went back to use my Whirly Pop,
I
you
love
know.
that thing.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And you know, lately I've been burning up the bottom of it though. I gotta get me some of this, you know, my grandbaby Lady B, I had burnt up some popcorn, and she gave it to my grandbaby because they like popcorn too. She said she put it in her mouth and she just let it stay in her mouth. She's like, so, so I told Lady B because the bottom is burnt. I tried to scratch it off, but I ordered me some stuff that hopefully gonna help me get the bottom back out.
Okay.
Cooking it up too high, having it up too high, trying to cook it too fast.
Yeah.
You know, the movie is on, so I have to, you know what I mean. But I'm saying um, that has saved me a lot of money, you know, because I buy the jar of popcorn in a jar, and then I even got me some of that movie theater
Yeah.
salt, you know, and some cheddar cheese,
Yeah.
white cheddar, and then did you ever try that spritz?
I never had spritz. What is that?
They got it's like butter in a spray can, like a aerosol can. And it's
Oh,
called spritz. You know, don't y'all put spritz on y'all hair?
yeah. It's like a, yeah, it's called spritz to hold it in, hold it
So,
together.
so they got butter. So you get your popcorn, you spray it with the spritz, and you pop it up, and then make it all glistery like it is in the movie. Anyway, you have to have a napkin on your hand after you finish with all that. But okay, we done got off subject now. We
Yeah. And I use avocado oil just so it could be a little bit more healthy. But
okay.
yeah, spritz it up.
All right, I'm gonna have to switch on that one. But the point that we're saying is that's one of the ways that we could increase our savings is if we can begin to find different ways to downsize our spending. And
Yes.
so a lot of times what we don't realize is my mother used to say it all the time, but what you would spend on just buying you some chicken wings or something, you could buy the whole chicken and cut it up yourself,
Yes.
you know,
Exactly.
versus buying it cut up. A lot of times we're spending money for convenience.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a result of it being convenient, it costs us more. And so if we would begin to look at the things that we're spending money on and then find ways to do it differently, it might mean a little extra labor on our part. But in most cases, when you're preparing it, it's healthier anyway.
It is.
When you buy it already pre-prepared, they have to put in, you know, certain preservatives that help it to
Yeah.
have a longer shelf life.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Is James still on? Did he comment?
He said he made a couple more comments. I just talked to him on YouTube and said, "Are you coming on?"
Okay, I
Click that
know he
link.
was having challenges with his air flight.
Mhm.
His flight got delayed, and he was in the airport, and so he may still be in the airport. Airport, and so managing bills and dealing with the debt. We talked about that. We talked about the emergency fund, and as you said, how how it just helped when it comes. You didn't use these words, but pretty much you were saying it kept the anxiety down because
Mhm.
you had that cushion there,
Right.
and you didn't have to go into a panic or anything because you had money put up on the side. And a lot of times, if we're not careful, when we have when things come up, when you don't have money on the side, it can cause your anxiety to rise up, or
Mhm.
it could put you in a place of desperation. You
Yes.
know, and desperation to cause you to go to them loan sharks.
Okay.
You know, it's my money and I want it now.
Are they still around?
I'm
Do they
sure they
still?
are, because when you do those kind of things, the interest that you're paying on that is just ridiculous. Yeah. So let's talk about credit repair. We talked about, the importance of having credit, and we talked about there are several products that you can get with certain levels of credit. And I know I might be mixing a little bit up from our workshops, our entrepreneur workshops that we've had.
Mhm.
But one of the things that really helped us was that 0% interest credit card.
Okay.
Getting a 0% interest credit card and paying off the credit cards, and then paying the same amount of money that we were paying before. And because you're not paying interest, it's knocking it down.
Right.
So now we're looking at paying off one of the vehicles that same way. And so when we talk about credit and credit repair, what is your thoughts on the importance of us maintaining a decent credit score?
Okay. I'm gonna let James on real quick, and then
Okay,
James,
there he is.
Yes, how y'all doing? Took me a while to get here. Took me a while to get here.
You back in Milwaukee?
Yes, yes, I
Oh,
am.
okay. I could tell the Saints to stop praying because I had them praying for you. You was in. I told them you stuck in the airport.
Oh yeah, I was definitely stuck in the airport. The good part was I was able to get on a bus and make my way to a location to get on. That's all I was chiming in like, "Hey guys, yep, what you saying is right."
oh, so you were on the bus.
Yes, I went from a plane that Uh, not the service. It was just the plane got delayed for instead of me being home by 6, the plane got delayed to 7:30, and that's takeoff, not even arrival.
Okay.
So I was like, hey, y'all got a bus? Yep, bus, $36. I can do that. So, uh, yeah, I could get a rental car. The rental car was about $200, or a bus was $38. I chose the bus.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. You can sit back and you can do some work on there, or you can go to sleep, or yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, remember, just like Financial Fridays, just because you have the money to spend, it doesn't mean you have to spend it. It just means that you have that option if
Okay.
it comes down to it.
Yeah.
So yes.
And see, that's a powerful statement. That's a powerful statement right there, because it's one thing to know it. It's another thing to actually practice it, and be able to practice it. And because some people will feel, if they're not careful, they'll feel like, I don't want nobody to look at me a certain way, riding on the bus. You know what I mean? But when
Yeah.
you have the right mindset, you're not even focused on that. Be like Bishop. Bishop they say, well, Bishop, you got it. He said, yeah, but not for that.
Not
Yeah.
for that.
That's always the fun part. When you have the more money that you have, or the more money control you have, the more options you have.
Okay.
Because I could spend my money on a rental car, but it's a 1 day rental, it's a one-time travel, and I still need somebody to pick me up once I get to the rental car company.
Okay.
Or I could just take the bus and I could be in the same position or a similar position, and I could just have somebody pick me up from the bus station.
Right.
And I could save myself $200.
Right.
I mean, just because you have it don't mean you gotta spend it. It just means you have an option.
Hmm.
Because if I didn't have the additional $236, I'd be on the bus anyway.
Right. Right. Well, listen,
Uh,
James, I'll let you know that you got a graduating student here online right here, Minister Brumfield. She's trying to be Kuma Dilade. How you say that word? How they say it? Y'all help me out.
Akuma,
Cum laude.
Kuma Kuma Tatari.
Cum laude.
What is it, Minister Brumfield?
Cum laude.
Yeah. She trying to be at the top of the class. So she was
yeah.
talking about. Did you hear earlier how she's altered her spending and she's putting it into stocks and things.
Yes.
Oh, you
Yes.
understand that? Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm really big on that because those small steps over time produces residual income
yeah,
or passive income. And
yeah.
those things are what we need more in our society.
Okay.
We need more small steps in our society.
Yes,
You know
yes,
what you say?
yes.
Elder Perry said, "Welcome back."
It is good to be back. It's good to be back.
You said it's good to be black. What
It's
did you
good
say?
to be back.
Oh,
It's
Well,
good to be.
it
oh, you
is
said
good to be
good to be
black.
black.
It is good to be back, but uh, it is good to be back back in session.
So, when we really understand the power of those small steps and really locking our minds around that, because one of the things we talked about, when it comes to saving windfalls, whether it's taxes or unexpected money that comes in, and we were talking about taxes earlier. It's amazing how we have this money that come in that we wasn't expected, but some way it gets consumed so quickly. Like you in this regiment because you have to be in this regiment, and it's working good for you,
Yeah,
but then you get this windfall that comes in, and then you just break your whole regiment, and now you back. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Back to one. You like, man, I was at 10. I was saving and I got a little bonus and I spent everything.
And spent
Yeah.
everything. So,
Back
so when we
over.
talk, when we talk about this whole idea of credit, we was talking about credit repair and having a decent credit score,
Yeah.
and I was asking Minister Brumfield, how important that was and how that plays a part in the overall ability to stabilize your finances. What would be your take on that?
So your credit tells other people how healthy you are with your finances.
Okay,
You may think you really good and healthy, but if your credit score is 500, as good as you think you are, that's not what other people are seeing.
okay.
It's like your reputation. As
Mm,
good as you think you are, if you're angry and you're ornery and you're a pain to be around, you may think you're the smartest person in the world, but your reputation has already told everybody that's not the guy I want to talk to.
okay,
If you run into a situation, that's not the guy that I will be confident in. However, your credit score is a representation of who you are financially to people who don't know you.
okay.
So when you walk into places and your credit score is 826 and one of them is 850, the other one is 835,
You've
you
been looking
walk
at my
into
credit
places.
report.
You say, what now?
You've been looking at my credit report.
Maybe I man. Hey, if you got it like that, go ahead. But when you walk into places and your credit score is over 800, all three of the credit bureaus got you placed over 800.
Mhm.
Guess what? Now you can walk in and you be like, you know what? I don't think 5% is low enough. I need you to hit 3. Why? Because somebody else gonna hit 3. Because my reputation says that I can pay a large portion of this money in a timely manner, and I'm gonna be understanding with the credit.
Okay,
And like people lose themselves because just because you got it now, you got a credit card. Now you're blowing 30% or more of your credit. No, you got a credit card to allow yourself the ability. It doesn't mean once you got it, you got to spend it. It's just like everything else. You're showing other people how good you are. That's
okay,
like me with my kids. I give my kids, we go to places. We may go to a basketball game or a track event, and I may say, hey, here go $20. This is gonna last you until we go home. Now, if they come back in 2 minutes and be like, Dad, I spent it all at the one concession stand, I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, if that's what you want. But if you come at me 10 minutes into the first meet and you already complaining that you ran out of money, that tells me that you're not qualified to have that money in your hand. Daddy gotta hold on to it.
okay.
Now, I do have a couple of kids, suckers hang on to money like it's good, like it's gold. They hang on to it. No, we gonna go one time at halftime, and that's all I'm going. I'm gonna eat some candy now. I'm gonna go at halftime. I'm gonna pick up some more stuff. I'm gonna have a little bit more just in case this game go into overtime. Guess what that tells daddy? Hey, you know what? I can trust
Right.
this daughter
Yeah.
with that money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The same is true with your credit. You give somebody some money and they blow it. What's the likelihood of you giving them back some more money?
Hmm.
Man, let me borrow $20. I just need a little bit. And the moment you give it to him, you like, dude, you bought a whole new Xbox game? Well, see what happened was it was on sale. Can I borrow another 40? No. Clearly you don't know. You don't have money. You got money issues. That's what your credit is saying to a whole lot of people that don't even know you.
Wow. Wow.
Never even saw you. They probably never even see you. They're not trying to see you.
Hmm.
But if your credit score is at 800 plus, they want to see you.
Okay.
They want to be the guy that lend to you. Why? Because the likelihood of you paying somebody back, your reputation alone from your credit score is saying, yes, I'm willing to pay this guy back.
Okay. Yeah. And that's one of the things that we were talking about earlier when it comes to that financial literacy, because a lot of those things, for most of us, we didn't get that understanding growing up.
Mhm.
And so we messed around and created some bad habits. And those habits, like Minister Brumfield was talking about earlier, where there's people who think that that's the way life is, and not really understanding that those are just habits that we've created over time or based on how we grew up. But we have to take responsibility of our own credit and how we spend money. And we have to start, like you said, in small increments, turning that thing in our favor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing to that, Pastor, is, spending money is a feel good thing. It feels good to go and buy the shoes or buy the hat or whatever, or buy the dinner. It just makes the person feel good.
Yeah.
But when you deal with whatever your issue is, that's going to help you curb your spending habits.
Right.
Because you're just spending it because you're sad, or you're spending it because you feel stressed. You're spending it because you want it to relax you, but you're messing up your cash flow when you do that. So if we just deal with why you're feeling sad, why you're feeling angry, all of that, then it'll help you save money instead of just going out and spending it just to feel good.
Wow. Wow. So that going back to that mindset again.
Mm-hmm.
Because if in our minds we perceive spending money as the antidote for whatever we're going through, then if we don't renew our mind or redefine, how to deal with whatever that situation is, then we become our worst enemy, sort of say. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
It's self-sabotage.
yeah,
You
there you go. That's a better word.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why a person can go and gamble and don't have money really, but you'll gamble it away because it's the feel good, it's the adrenaline, it's the excitement of it. And then you got to go home and like, oh my gosh, you come back to reality and you're like, oh my gosh, I just spent all of our money and I don't have anything for the bills and I don't have anything for food, because it's a mindset.
wow, wow. Now, I never did get that part. I tried to shoot crap when I was coming up, but after I lost, I couldn't. I couldn't handle that. I was like, no, this one ain't this ain't for me.
I
I
mean,
can't give money away like that. I just
Yeah,
can't.
yeah, that wasn't for me. But yeah, I do get it though. Now, let's see what's going on. Do we got anything in the chat? I addressed those, and I'm on Jericho Facebook,
Yeah.
and so what was that? So we talked about credit, and we were talking about budgeting earlier with investments. And so we were really just going through some of the things that we've already covered, trying to reiterate the importance of it. And I was excited to hear Ms. Brumfield testimony of how she's been able to start putting that money aside that she's been saving, and how she's been given that money assignment with the stocks. And so I was excited to hear that. And I'm not gonna give my report. I'm not gonna turn in my midterms yet. I ain't gonna say what
Oh
Um,
my goodness.
uh,
Okay, I think that's great though. And
uh,
that's great news. If you when you start putting your financial understanding and well being in a position that you can completely and successfully build on, that's one of the biggest things, even for the American dream or just for the culture's dream.
yeah.
Everybody wants to be able to help somebody. Not that we may or may not, it's just having the ability. And I think that's what opened up so many doors for so many people is when we start having the ability to do things.
And one of the things that now, Ms. Brumfield, she didn't say this, but it was an undertone that I heard, not necessarily from her, but when she talked about, in essence, when you are, she said, in her words, she was like, okay, now that I got a better understanding of finances and now that I know what to do with them, she was like, okay, now you can bring it on. Now I'm ready for it now. And getting to that place, it takes, adjustments and discipline and learning. But now that you're at that place, how do you accelerate that, that that process? You know what I mean? Because now you ready for it. You know what to do with it. You ain't gonna spend it. You ain't gonna throw it away. You value it. You got a good understanding, a good foundation of how to handle it. But now you know you ain't gonna play the lottery and hit it, and in most cases ain't nobody gonna walk up to you and give it to you. So
Yeah.
how do you, now that you educated yourself and that you discipline yourself and you're starting to make the right choices, now how do you get to that place? I guess you got to wait for the book, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say I got some stuff for you. I got some stuff, but
All right, we're ready for this book. Okay, we are ready. The students are ready.
I, I,
oh,
I said after Mother's Day I was gonna take some time off and finish it, because it's got real fat. You know, it doubled the size of what James sent it to me.
oh.
It done doubled that size.
The crazy part is I'm still working. What I sent you and what I came back and started working on. I'm like, dude, it's so much more stuff that I would like to add in. I'm like, but I got to get the book done. No, the goal was to get the book done
Right,
because I can always have a part two. Hey, y'all, let's dig
right.
into
Have
it.
a
Let's
second edition.
yeah.
You have a different companion book or something all together with that. All right. So going back to that, without her having the book, how what are some ways that she could begin to, and Lady B say she ready, you know, and because because what they're saying is they've been following our principles,
Yeah,
that they've been learning on Financial Fridays. They put it into practice. They're seeing it working now, and they've changed their way of doing things. And so now they feel like, okay, they're in this position now. Okay, now I'm ready to make this thing do what it do.
yeah.
So, and until the book come out, which they're gonna boycott us if we don't hurry up. Uh, what are some things that they can do to see their wealth accelerate?
But I think Minister Brunfield is doing exactly what she's supposed to. She's not relying on someone to tell her or dictate her retirement. She's putting that in action. Because as we take the small increments, and everything is a small increment, you're putting it to do something in the future. Because the way passive income works, it is seed sowing. It's not about the right now, it's about the futuristic. And sometimes it comes back in 3 days, sometimes it comes back in 3 years, sometimes it comes back in 30 years. But as you put that money aside and you're sending it out, because that's what stocks do, that's what real estate does. You're sending your breadcrumbs out so you can get a harvest. All of that stuff is seed sowing, seed sowing, seed sowing. So eventually, by these small seeds that she's sowing, When those harvests start popping up, they just start coming. Now that $20 she put inside the stocks, if she work it right and got the right grass and the right water and the season is right, she can pull that stock up, and now she got $5,000 off of that $200. And
Okay.
then that's just one. That's one share. That's not even all of them. That's just one share. So now she got another stock coming up. She was like, I heard about this really good company called IBM. I heard they finna make a comeback. So now she got in on the ground floor on that investment, and now that investment is coming back. And she was like, you know what? I heard Walmart is gonna do something special right now, because when you're in the business or in the season of stocking or planting seeds in stock, now you're more invested in understanding how it goes. This is a natural progression of doing something over and over again. So now I don't have to convince her that
Right.
planning for the future is a thing that she needs to do. It's something that she already innately knows. So now she can tell somebody else, hey, this is what I'm doing, and this is the benefit of what I'm doing.
Mhm.
And then that person can also grow. And that's how it all works.
Wow.
Each one teach one.
Got some more pressure right there, man. Some Pfeiffer talking about she said setting us a deadline for May 20th. You know, she said she finished hers, so May
Oh,
20th is the deadline, huh? All right.
whew.
Well,
Okay, sis, I got you. I got you.
next week is already out for me. Uh, but now you bring up a very interesting thing that just resonated in my thought pattern. Is now it brings new meaning to why we need to look at news. You know,
Yeah.
when it comes to business news, so that we can know what things are coming on the horizon and what things that we can get in on the ground floor. Most people just look at news for the sake of news, with the bad that's going on or the weather or maybe the sports scores or whatever. But now it's a different type of news that we're looking for. Now
Mhm.
we want to look for business news as to what's going on and what things that we could get involved in. Uh, is that right?
Yes. And but that's the beauty of it. Instead of it being something in which you have to struggle to do, it's something that you're gradually going into. It's like if you take up a new sport called golfing and you never golfed before. If you golf and you be like, I actually like this. I like what it's doing to my body. I like the mentality of the game. You're gonna gradually learn more about the game of golf.
Hmm.
On top of learning more about the game of golf, you're going to be more invested in learning more about the game of golf. So now you're buying the shoes, you're buying the club, but you're also studying the game.
Hmm.
You're learning about the game. So now you're more invested. The same thing is true when it comes to our finances. When we become more aware of our finances and when we want our finances to grow, we automatically start looking at things like Black Enterprise, which is a really good magazine.
Mhm.
Men's Health for guys, Women's Health for women. Like these are magazines that are not geared towards this guy shot this guy or this political person is going to get this political person, right? This is stuff like, hey, this is going to help you mentally and physically. Hey, this is going to help you financially. And now you're more invested in becoming a better financial person or a more healthier person. And the more you are invested, the more you are inclined to receive more information.
So now, is he in your business, Sharon Brumfield? Did you see that?
Yeah, he is with that golf because that's definitely the truth. I would never have thought that I would sit down and actually watch golf on TV, but I do.
Okay.
So
Oh,
that's true.
All right. Now tell me this, Ms. Brumfield, when you finally decided that you were going to begin to invest in the stock,
Mhm.
how did you pick your stock?
I actually was watching something on YouTube, and this person said that they heard Buffett Warren say he bought some of these stocks.
Okay.
So as I was listening to YouTube, I just went and bought them.
Okay.
You
Now,
know,
go ahead.
yeah, because he's the stock kind of person. So I said, well, let me try it. And the money I had in my account, I took that and bought 2 different stock.
Okay. James.
I'm still here.
You falling, you can't get up.
No,
Go ahead.
I think following people who's also doing what they're supposed to do is a great example. I was just reading this book called Leaders Listen, Learn. Leaders listen, learn, and lead. I just
Okay.
got done reading a book about that.
Okay.
And the biggest thing that he was talking about was about imitation.
hmm
Warren Buffett is a great person to imitate. If he was like, I'm trying to get into stocks, he's a great person to imitate
Yeah.
because he's the person who made a living off buying and selling stocks.
hmm
So, but somebody was like, man, I don't know how to get into it, but I know I want to.
Right.
Warren Buffett is a good starting point.
Now, was
Now,
he
is he aggressive or not aggressive?
Warren
He,
Buffett the one that talks about penny stocks?
no, Warren Buffett is the one that talk about. He's the one that took a bunch of kids and he beat the top young investors because he said kids are the ones that can buy the right stocks because they buy stuff that they actually going to use. They don't need a lot of computers. They don't need a lot of gimmicks. They can go in the market and they can buy stuff that they use.
Wow.
And he proved this by beating a bunch of young investors.
Okay.
And that's what made me like, you know what? He has a point because it's not enough to be able to say it, but when you can say something and your information can utilize somebody else's to impact them that they can beat the competition. Now I'm like, okay, now you have something because it's not just a you thing; it's something that you can show other people thing.
So maybe I need to look into. They got some new glasses that's coming out, and they just like regular glasses, like say the glasses you have on, Minister Brumfield, but they got a computer chip in them, and
Yeah,
they recognize different landmarks and things. And so when you're looking at things, inside of your glasses, you see, all kind of data and information about different things. Did you all hear about those?
I did not.
Okay, you hear about them, James?
no, I might have came across them, but no, I didn't hear that they was on the market.
So maybe I need to invest in those. I don't know what they call, but that's something that I would use once they came down enough where I can buy them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, get
Minister
in on the
Mark,
ground floor.
Minister Mark says, so I am invested, and I gain $100. Can I take the 100 and put it in something else other than stock? I don't
Another
know if it done made $100. You might want to leave it there.
stock.
No, but James is the guru. What you say, James?
Goodness. I'm saying it's up to him. If he's doing good at his stock, leave it there. But sometimes the market may be shifting and you may have good advice. Like, hey, I know this new glassware is coming up, and I put these glasses on and I can see all the landmarks. He may want to shift that money from one that's doing good for the potential of one that's going to be making a lot more.
Mm,
It's like this new video game with these VR headsets that some people got. When it first came out, you got the Wii, you got
right.
PlayStation, you
Mm,
got Xbox. Hopefully, I got them all. And they got like the Switch and all the other new games.
right.
But then something came out that allowed not just children and adults, but it was almost exclusive. You put the headset on, you put your glasses in, you got little remotes, and then it became a phenomenon. It was on TikTok, it's on YouTube. It became a phenomenon. And that company blew up. So now almost everyone offers a VR experience
Mm-hmm.
because of that. Now imagine if you was on the ground floor of that VR experience, the
Yeah.
ground floor.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing that came out, shouts out. I want to give a quick shout out to one of my guys who's a really good techie. He was one of the first people I seen that had the video camera inside the glass frames, but he had the video camera in it.
Right.
He was on the ground floor of that, and I was like, man, that's cool. That is so cool. I don't even know if that's legal, but that is so cool, right?
Okay.
And I was being honest. I didn't know if it was legal, but I knew the glasses he was wearing was the coolest thing ever. I'm like, those are so cool.
Yeah.
Because when you get on the ground floor is more risk, so you get more reward. More risk, more reward.
Okay.
So if Minister Mark had an extra $100 and he saw, because remember, when you have money that is free to use, it's not hurting you if you lose it or gain it. It becomes this discretionary income. So now he has an extra $100 and he said, I know I can get another $100 over here, or I can utilize this 100 and try it over here inside this new investment. So that's why I say it is up to what he's heard.
Okay.
Hopefully he's not going to get in and say, I'm going to put it inside Burger King, because I heard that they're not doing that well.
Mr. Brocker, I saw you nodding your head as he was talking about switching the stock and putting it in other stock, as though you know something about that. You have an experience there?
Yeah. So, but one thing you need to be careful of when you do that is taxes. So if you're selling stock, it's some way you got to tell your accountant, because they need to incorporate that in your taxes.
Okay.
So, when you're dabbling in this, you got to get information. I learned because I didn't know. And I learned later when my accountant told me, no, you got to put this on here and you got to pay for these different forms for me to do this, blah, blah, blah. But yes, during the pandemic, I was buying and selling like crazy because of the different, like Moderna and stuff like that, all of those different things. I would make, $100 here. I would take that and then I would put it over here on whatever the other thing was. And so I didn't continue it though. Had I continued it, I could be sitting real pretty right now, which I still am. But yeah, you can do that. You just got to know the tax parts of that, because that's income that you're getting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you gotta be aware of that.
So when if he's making this money, he made this $100 on this stock. If that was profit from the interest or whatever, and now he want to cash that out to put it somewhere else, then you saying that there's a tax liability attached with that stock. You know what you're saying,
once you
James?
sell it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the form is a 1099. I think it's a 1099. But you get issued that typically from whoever you're doing your transactions through. They typically send it to you at the end of the year because they want to cover themselves too. Remember, when you're sending money on a platform, that platform is also being charged a fee to do all that work for you. So they typically send everything to you. I don't remember having to look for one. I know at the end of the year, around January 15th, they send them all out.
Yeah, they did send it to me, but it's the accountant, when they're doing your taxes, there's different forms they got to fill out. Different things, like I don't know, I'm not an accountant, so I don't know the verbiage for it, but I'm just putting that out there. Taxes are in everything. So you got to be careful when you're doing stuff that you don't know, because you'll get caught up later and you'll be, you'll find out later.
Yeah, you do have a point in that. But I think it's the withdrawal order of the. Hold on, I'm not a tax expert either. I think it's because I know I get a lot of tax forms at around January timeframe. So I'm not gonna speculate on who's sending me what tax forms. But I do know if you keep it and you don't move it, I don't think you got to pay interest on that. No, until you start moving it. Yeah, once you start moving it, then you got to start paying, not interest, you got to pay taxes on the money moved.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Well, listen, that time has went so fast, man.
Oh,
We got 1 minute left. Wow. Well, listen, before we go off, let me just talk a little bit about the Kingdom Growth Conference. We have a Kingdom Growth Conference. It's been going on now for about 22 years. And it's coming up May 8th through the 11th. And it's two conferences in one. The Kingdom Growth Conference it started 22 years ago. And then at some point, we added a youth young adult conference to that. And so now we have two conferences going on at one time. It's incredible. And on May 8th and the 10th at 6 o'clock, there's classes. You can go on mkekgc.org on the website and you can see the schedule on there. But there's classes. This year we have clergy classes start at 1:10 and end at 4:20. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and we have some incredible speakers. And then on at 6 o'clock, we have the young adults and the youth and associate ministers and the laity. And that's all the regular church people, leaders, and all of that. So that starts at 6 o'clock. For the laity and the clergy is $30. It's $25 if you register 10 or more. And then for the youth and young adults is $15. And if you bring two people that registers, no, it's not two people. It's whoever brings the most people at the end of the week, you get a gift certificate. And I think it's like, I don't know if it's $50 or $25. It's the money. So you want to be a part of it. And each night at 7 o'clock is going to be worship on the I'll call it the adult side. I don't know what to call it. And then it's going to be worship on the youth and young adult side. So there's going to be two worship services going on at the same time, all at one location. So we're going to host it, Jericho Church Without Walls, 8086 North 76th Street. We're going to be the host. And the conference has been put on. It was 17 different churches came together to form the Kingdom Growth Conference. And you want to be a part of it. And so just go to mkekgc.org and register today, or you can register on site. And you would not be disappointed if you love good preaching on the Kingdom Growth. The Kingdom Growth Conference have national speakers to come in. So you have the best of the best when it comes to preaching and teaching. And then our youth, young adult is going to be local teachers, and they have small groups and different things of that sort. And the worship is always incredible. It's always incredible. And to see the young people get transformed, and it's just an incredible thing to see. And so you want to be a part of the Milwaukee Kingdom Growth Conference. And so go to the website, mkekgc.org. And the conference schedule is on there, and some different flyers is on our Facebook page. And you want to be a part of the Kingdom Growth Conference. All right. Well, listen, James, thank you for your cameo appearance.
You're welcome.
When you got big money like that, you traveling all over the world. Where were you at?
I was in Louisville, Kentucky.
You was in Louisville, Kentucky. All right.
Yes.
Let me see. Is that Joe Louis? No.
Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali.
Right,
right,
you knew it was a boxer.
Yeah. I think Detroit is
Frazier.
No, Detroit is
George Foreman?
No. Maybe Joe Louis. They got that big old fist in the street over there in Detroit. Anyway, we way past the time is 8:33, so we 3 minutes over. Well, listen, what would be your closing comments? I think we had a good time today. Would y'all say so?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Brumfield didn't say nothing.
I said, oh yeah.
Mr. Pfeiffer said Hearns, Tommy Hearn.
Hearn, there you go.
I
The
don't know if
hitman.
that's his fist or not. Y'all don't ever see that fist in Detroit? It's like downtown. Is it downtown? Yeah, they got that big old fist in the middle of the street. Okay, anyway. But look at
Joe
Tim.
Lewis.
Say you were in Loserville. Oh man, that is cold. So Detroit is Joe Lewis. So Joe Lewis is Detroit. So that's his fist in the streets of Detroit. Oh wait, what you call it Loserville? What's going on with St. Louis? Don't say that. I got some friends in St. Louis. Well, listen, we are. What's closing comments, Mr. Brumfield? Ladies first.
I would say take some nuggets that you've learned and apply them. Start with one. Just do one continuously, do one, and then start another one so that you can start to see, this information that we're getting is so useful and is so helpful. So if you haven't started anything yet, get one thing and start it.
Okay. And don't forget to go in the chat there and hit that link and fill out that survey for us so that we can know what types of things you want us to teach on and talk on. And you just go to that link and hit that survey and fill out that survey so that we can keep it fresh. James, what's your closing comments?
Remember. Small increments will get you to where you need to go. 26-mile journey, or what that's a marathon, the biggest marathon you can ever think of, always starts with the first step. So always remember, start where you are and make those small adjustments.
All right. Well, very good, very good. I always say consistency wins the race. When I think about the rabbit and the turtle, and how the rabbit was fast and zipping around, and the turtle was slow, but he was consistent. And then he caught the rabbit snoozing and won the race. So consistency, be consistent. Well, God bless you all. Thank you again for tuning in to Rise and Thrive. And we pray that as you put the information to work in your life, you'll see yourself rising from that financial slump and you'll begin to thrive in financial freedom. God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you on next week, Friday. Friday. Be blessed.